Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. I'm going to show you how to add the respawn and the death methods to your script. All of this for now, as you can see, is going to be going into the player script. So if you've already gotten the character that's going to be moving on the screen, it's really easy to add these methods and these new variables. So that's what I'm going to show you, and then you'll also see the new variables in the updated script that's going to be on Canvas. So the first thing you can see here, I have a death and respawning method that's going to be here. So I've added these variables. You can see that I've added these comments. I do need to do one thing here, which is I've added these kind of between the start method. So I'm going to get rid of this start method comment. I don't really need it anymore because my start method is right here. I also have this comment on update, which is kind of the default. So just to kind of clean things up a little bit, I'm going to put all of this just together and kind of delete those comments just because we're used to seeing those. So when you have the new variables, the death and respawning variables, you're going to see I have a respawn wait time, which is about 2 seconds. And you can see we have a tooltip here. I also have a false. So when the game starts, this is going to be false. And then we're going to switch it once in this case, when we're starting, we're going to switch it when we press the T key, but eventually that's going to be a collision with one of the objects that's in the scene or one of the like the hazards or those types of things. We're also setting a spawn point. So when the game starts, that way it records that point, which should be 000. So that's an element of the game that is going to be really important um, because you want to make sure that when you spawn, that your player character, who we see right here, all of those things are lined up so they all spawn in the same place. And then this also sets the rotation for the spawn point so that it starts at the same place. You don't necessarily need this spawn rotation. It just kind of helps when you start the game to be like at the rotation you generally will start with. So these things at the start method, you're setting the variables right here, you're declaring them. So right here, you declare the variables, and here you set them when you hit the play button. Right. So after that, one important part of this is I have this method here, and you can see that I've kind of set it apart. And so this is the method where if the player is not dead, then it becomes true, and then it basically switches it. So when we talk about like set active, what that means is like if I click on a player right here, it basically turns off this checkpoint. So that Boolean variable that we're kind of used to seeing, when we declare it, just think of it like this is on or off. So if I click it, you see the player goes away and then they come back. And you can also see that it kind of grays out here. So if you click it on or off, then it's going to set that variable. Okay, and then you also have a respawn method, which is going to then re-enable the character after you hit play. So again, these methods are declared before the movement method and before the update method. If you don't do that, then you can run into issues occasionally. Like if I were to put the die and respawn methods underneath this update method, and then I called them, you won't be able to it will give you an error because it doesn't know what they are in the update method. So it has to be declared before. You could do them, like I could take them and put them after this movement method if I wanted, but I need to have it declared before the method in which I call them. So you can see again, just to keep our code clean, we have movement, which is right here. And this movement variable has all of the properties that we're going to be using for movement about our keys. And again, it's hard coded in the older input system, but um, it declares all of that. If I need to go in and change something, then I can just go into the movement method instead of changing everything in update. And then just to keep things to test them mostly, I've just included this very short key code down. I'm just going to hit T, and then it's going to run or call this die method. So what we should see when I hit play, and I'm going to hit save really quick, what you should see is that when I move around, you're going to when I hit T, it's going to wait a bit. My character is going to go away, and then I'm going to see that character respawn in the scene. Now, for some reason, this is delayed a bit, so I'm going to give it a few more seconds. And I did make a couple of small changes, and then let's just kind of watch and see what happens as I run through. So you can see here, my character is moving. Okay, I've got all of my basic movement before I was working. You can see I've added a coin here, but I'm going to go in and make a couple of changes to that. I've just kind of built that as a prefab later. Okay, so now I'm going to be like all the way over here. I don't yet have a rigid body on this, so it's just kind of floating through space. That's going to be the next step. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit T, and just to illustrate, I'm going to go float in space. I'm going to hit T. You can see my character goes away. And I do have a bit of an issue because my character, when I went off of the screen, kind of respawned. So I can still move my camera around. There it is. Okay, so it got a little caught up. And I am running into a problem because now what's happening is when I'm moving, you can see like it's stopping at kind of random places. So that's something that I need to maybe go in and fix. Just some quick troubleshooting things, like as I've done this, I might want to check the player's motion here, like make sure that these objects are all kind of lined up. So you can see this is saving my position. I'm going to hit T again, and then I'm going to see what happens. Okay, there it is. Now I do have my issue seems to be with the camera and where it's kind of respawning on that. So I may need to go in and fix it. But the basic methods are working. You can see these colliders and some of these things aren't quite lining up, so I do need to go back. But this is how that script works. If you're finding that that issue isn't occurring, that's good. Like I said, anytime you're developing games, you're going to run into problems like this. But I'm going to try one more time just so you can kind of see. When I hit T, and you can see too that that player script kind of deletes or it inactivates and then it comes back. Okay, so again, I'll show you this one more time just so you can kind of see what I might have to go back in and fix. But I have my character, everything starts out fine. Okay, and then I'm going to hit T. You're going to see my character kind of goes away. It re-enables. But I do have a problem. Like if I go like way up here, I hit T. What is happening is my camera, like my character, it says that it's come back, but it kind of hasn't, and I'm moving my camera around. So I do have an issue to correct. However, the respawn method does work. You can see that it's come back. So I'm thinking that it's an issue here with my model that looks like this, and my base, which I'm no longer seeing in the scene. So I'm not sure why that's happening, but again, that's something that I can go in and fix. So I hope that was helpful. Again, there's going to be issues when you run into scripting. Like sometimes they will run perfectly, sometimes they won't, but the base method works, and the problem is the little troubleshooting. I should be able to fix it. Okay, so I hope you have a good rest of your day and a good weekend, and I'll see you next week.